My name is Robert. I'm 78 years old. I'm recording this in my living room. It's quiet here now. It's been quiet for a long time. I don't know who needs to hear this. Maybe no one, maybe just me. But I've been thinking about something lately. Something I didn't see clearly until it was already behind me. For most of my life, I was busy. Or at least I said I was. I said it so often I started to believe it. I'm busy. I don't have time. Maybe next week. Let me get back to you. I said these things to my wife, to my daughters, to friends I don't hear from anymore. I said them like they were true. And in a way they were. I was doing things, I was working, I was managing, I was dealing with whatever needed dealing with. But I see now that a lot of what I called busy was just noise. It was motion without meaning. It was a way to avoid sitting still. It was a way to avoid certain conversations, certain people, certain feelings. I didn't know that then. I thought I was doing what I was supposed to do. I worked in insurance for 42 years. Not exciting, not glamorous, just steady. I was good at it, good enough. I showed up, I filed the paperwork, I handled the claims, I came home. My wife, Ellen, used to ask me about my day. I'd say, fine, busy. She'd wait, like she was hopping, I'd say more. But I didn't, because I was hiding anything, just because there wasn't much to say. Or maybe because I didn't think she really wanted to hear it. Or maybe because I didn't want to think about it myself. So I'd eat dinner, watch the news, go to bed. I'd tell myself that was. Our daughters were young then, Sarah and Kate. Ellen stayed home with them when they were small. Then she worked part-time at the library. Liked it there. She'd come home and tell me about the people she met, the books she recommended, the small moments that made her smile. I'd nod, I'd half listen. And then I'd say something like, "That's nice, honey. I've got to finish this report." Even when I didn't. Even when the report could wait. I just didn't want to stay in the conversation. I don't know why. Maybe because her life felt lighter than mine, and I resented that. Or maybe because I didn't know how to be present without feeling like I was falling behind. Sarah played piano. Wasn't a prodigy or anything, just a kid who liked music. Had recitals, small ones, at the church or the school. Ellen would tell me about them weeks in advance. She'd write the date on the calendar in the kitchen. I'd say, yeah, I'll try to make it. But I missed most of them. Because I had to. Because I convinced myself I did. There was always something else. A meeting that ran late. A client who needed a callback. A file that couldn't wait until Monday. I believed my own excuses. Sarah stopped asking if I was coming. Just assumed I wouldn't be there. I let her assume that. Kate was different. Didn't ask for much. Was quiet, observant. She'd sit at the kitchen table doing her homework, and I'd walk past her without saying anything. Because I didn't love her, I did. But because I didn't know what to say. So I'd go to the garage, or the basement, or I'd turn on the TV. I'd find something to do. Something that looked important. Something that let me avoid the feeling that I was supposed to be somewhere else. With them. But I wasn't ready to admit that. Then, Ellen used to suggest things. Let's take a walk. Let's go to the lake this weekend. Let's just sit on the porch. I'd say, I can't. I've got too much going on. She'd look at me, not angry, just sad. Like she was watching me disappear. I'd look away. Because I didn't want to see it. The years passed. The girls grew up. Sarah went to college, then Kate. Ellen kept working at the library. She made friends there. She had her own life. And I kept going to the office. I kept telling myself, I was doing what mattered. Providing, planning, being responsible. But the house got quieter. I started to notice it. I retired at 65. I thought I'd feel relieved. But I didn't. I felt untethered. Like I'd spent 40 years holding onto something, and now I didn't know what to do with my hands. Ellen was still working part-time. The girls had their own lives, their own families. I was just here. I tried to stay busy. I fixed things around the house. I organized the garage. I went to the hardware store more than I needed to. But it wasn't the same, because I wasn't avoiding anything anymore. I was just filling time. I started to realize how much time I'd wasted. Not wasted doing nothing. Wasted pretending to be too busy to do the things that actually mattered. Ellen retired 2 years after I did. I thought maybe that would change things. That we'd finally have time together. That we'd do the things she used to suggest. The walks, the trips, the quiet mornings on the porch. But by then, I didn't know how to start. We'd lived in the same house for decades, but somewhere along the way, we'd become polite strangers. We'd talk about the weather, the bills, what to have for dinner. But we didn't talk about us. We didn't talk about what we'd missed. I think we were both afraid to. There was one afternoon. It was spring, the kind of day Ellen always loved. Was sitting outside with a book. I was inside, watching something on TV I don't even remember. I looked out the window and saw her there. Just sitting, just being. I thought I should go out there. I should sit with her. I should ask her what she's reading. But I didn't. I told myself I would in a minute. And then the minute passed. And then an hour. And then she came back inside. I never said anything. I think about that day more than I should. Because it was significant. But because it wasn't. It was just another small moment I let slip by. One of hundreds, maybe thousands. Sarah calls me every few weeks. She's kind. She asks how I'm doing. I tell her I'm fine. She tells me about her kids, her job, her life. I listen, but I don't ask much, because I don't know how to get past the surface. I don't know how to say, I'm sorry I wasn't there. I don't know how to say, I wish I'd listened more. So I just say, that's great, honey. I'm glad you're doing well. We hang up. I sit here wishing I'd said something real. Kate doesn't call as often. I don't blame her. I wasn't there when she needed me. In the ways that mattered. Sends a card on my birthday, on holidays. Short messages, polite. I read them, and I think about all the conversations we never had. The times I walked past her at the kitchen table. All the moments I chose the garage over her. I can't get those back. I know that. But I still think about them. Ellen got sick 3 years ago. It wasn't sudden, it was gradual. The kind of thing that sneaks up on you. Got tired more easily. She forgot things, small things at first. And then bigger things. The doctors said it was dementia. Early stages. They said we had time. But I didn't know what to do with that time. I tried to help, I did. I made her tea. I reminded her to take her medicine. I drove her to appointments. But I still didn't know how to talk to her. Not really. Not about the things that mattered. There was a night. We were sitting in the living room. Was looking at an old photo album. Pictures of the girls when they were little. Pictures of us when we were young. Looked up at me and said, "We had a good life, didn't we?" I said, "Yeah, we did." But I didn't mean it. The way she did. Because I knew we could have had a better one. If I just stopped. If I'd just been there. She's in a care facility now. I visit her 3 times a week. Sometimes she knows who I am. Sometimes she doesn't. On the good days, she smiles when I walk in, holds my hand. We sit together. We don't talk much. But it's different now, because I'm not pretending to be busy. I'm not looking for a reason to leave. I'm just there. I wish I'd learned how to do that 50 years ago. I look back at my life, and I see all the things I said I didn't have time for. Walking with Ellen, sitting with my daughters, asking questions, listening, just being still. I told myself I was too busy, but I wasn't. I was afraid of what I'd feel if I slowed down, afraid of what I'd have to face. So I filled my days with things that didn't matter. I let the things that did slip through my fingers. I'm not telling you this because I think you'll make different choices. I don't know you. I don't know your life. Maybe you're different than I was. Maybe you already know what I'm just now learning. But if you don't, if you find yourself saying, "I'm too busy," to the people you love, if you find yourself avoiding the quiet moments because they make you uncomfortable, just know that one day you'll have all the time in the world. You'll wish you'd spent it differently. I sit in this house now and it's so quiet. The kind of quiet I used to crave. But now it just feels empty. Ellen's not here. The girls have their own lives. I'm left with all this time I said I never had. I don't know what happens next. I don't know how much time I have left. But I know I can't get the old time back. I can't redo the recitals I missed. I can't have the conversations I avoided. I can't sit on the porch with Ellen the way she wanted to. Not anymore. So I just sit here. I remember. I wish I'd understood sooner that being busy was just another way of being absent. If you made it this far, thank you. For listening. For sitting with this. Maybe it means something to you. Maybe it doesn't. Either way, I'm glad you were here.